Hi, I'm Chuck Colson with this week's 2-minute warning. For as long as I can remember, people have been talking about the need to teach character. The problem is, nobody can teach character. That's because, as Aristotle pointed out long ago, the virtues that shape a person's character aren't so much taught as learned. During our childhood, during the morally formative years, we learn things like self-control and playing nicely with others. And we do it by observing and imitating those around us, most notably our parents, our families, members of the church, and of course good parents set the boundaries for acceptable behavior. And when they see a child acting in a way that he ought not to act, they correct the child. Now, I've spent the past several months developing a teaching series on the importance of ethics. During the filming, we interviewed a young man who spoke about how character is developed. He's a 31-year-old corporate executive named Donovan Campbell. He also served 3 tours as a Marine officer in Iraq, which he's written about in his fabulous book, Joker 1. Donovan, as you would know from reading the book, is a Christian. Donovan told me that the finest character training in the world happens to be in the United States Marine Corps, at least in his experience. Okay, I know. You hear me talk a lot about the Marines. But let me tell you what Donovan and I experienced as young men. Marine boot camp and officer training is a deadly serious business. After all, you're training to go into combat, and how well you learn may decide whether you, and even more important, the men around you, survive when the shooting starts. For officers and the enlisted Marines, training is a 2-stage process. During the first half of your training, you learn you're nothing. If you look the wrong way at an officer or a DI, it's 50 push-ups. And if you don't get through the obstacle course in time, as I found out once, you keep trying it. I dropped ill one night after going over the course about 4 times. The officer said, "Keep going. You're a Marine. You can do it." And I did. Halfway through the training, whatever kind of person you used to be has been beaten out of you. You've been stripped bare of all those non-Marine habits, the bad ones. Then all of a sudden your drill instructors begin to tell you, you can do anything because now you're a Marine. And there's an amazing bond that is built, brotherly love. Donovan writes about it in his book when he says what holds a platoon together in combat is love. When you're a Marine, you know the guy in the next foxhole is ready to die for you, and you're ready to die for him. I'm really struck by the parallels with the gospel. When you become a believer, you're convicted of your sin, and the old man is stripped away. He's dead. Behold, the new has come. You are a new person in Christ. But doesn't this also teach us something about not only your own faith, but about character? Isn't building good character all about getting rid of your old bad habits and taking on good ones? Isn't that what you learn in good families? How to overcome your base instincts and cultivate moral virtue? I really want you to watch the interview we did with Donovan Campbell. We've got it at thecolsoncenter.org. This young man really gets it. Listen to his explanation of how character is built in the Marine Corps, and then take those principles and apply them in your Christian life. Apply them in teaching your kids. Apply them in working with youth groups or with discipleship groups. Every time I see this, someone goes, a 19-year-old kid taken off the streets of Detroit or Des Moines, they're run through boot camp and they're turned into a man who would give his life to defend his brothers. This is something we could all learn from. I'm Chuck Colson, and that's this week's 2-minute warning.